Go.
Good afternoon and good evening, everyone. I am Arbalest, or Angel Arbalest on Twitch. Thank you so much for donating to Gate and getting this Gestalt Corgi % incentive met. This is generally one of my favourite runs to do at the moment. I love it. It's not much different to the any %, but we just get to go and pet so many cute doggos, and it's just a much nicer run in some ways. It's also a lot more entry friendly if you want to do it. So yes, thank you so much, and it's going to a wonderful cause as well. So I'm not going to hold back any longer. We'll go into a bit more of the run as we go on. So we'll make a start. So I'll give you a quick countdown if we're ready, and that will make a start in 3, 2, 1, and go.
Good luck.
Thank you very much. So for this run, this is based in a again a steampunky type of world in Metroidvania. We play as Althea, who has been is a bounty hunter and is on a mission to find out what's happening in the vault. There's some underhanded goings on here. So we'll work our way through, figure out what's going on. It'll just lead us to a whole bunch of things that we need to... that'll just lead into a whole bunch of chaos as well. So this is very much your standard Metroidvania to start. You're rolling, jumping attacks, but there is quite a lot to this, which I think helps it stand out. And I'll try my best to run through everything. We will have some times where we can go through this, and we'll also get to see where all the corgis as we go. So the main thing we have with this is our gun, which is using energy, and then we have our sword attacks, which will be the bulk of our damage as we go on. And we'll move for the moment for the rolling. We will get some more movement, which makes this a lot more interesting about 20 minutes into the run, maybe just a bit before that. But yes, this is going to be quite an interesting one, hopefully, and I hope a lot of people enjoy what we see. Just a fair warning to start, I'm going to try and speak through it, but sometimes this little scene that we're coming up to does peak in sound a little bit. We don't know why, but for whatever reason, the enemies here like to get very loud, so I try to speak through it as best I can. As we have got mentioned as well, there will be flashing light warning throughout the run. This is just with some of the teleporting we have to do to go get some of the other corgis when we're saving them. So please do be warned for that. I will try my best to let you know when that's happening. But just to be fair warned, there will be points in time where there will be flashing lights throughout the run. Just due to flashing events or teleports. We will hear and see our first corgi there. We aren't saving this corgi just yet. This one we will be coming back to soon. Don't worry, we will be saving them all. Yeah, so we're now just going to get our first upgrade, as it is a Metroidvania. We do have a bit of an upgrade pattern here. And this will be our Tesla bullets. So this is going to be our bread and butter. Everything we do with abilities here will be around Tesla shots, steel bullets, and sword flurries and heavy attacks. And a lot of this here will come down to trying to break enemies. So they'll have 2 bars of health. In most cases, they'll have their standard health bar. And then they will also have a break bar. Breaking that bar leaves them vulnerable, so they take more damage. And that's going to be very pivotal for with the bosses when we get to them as well soon enough. I'm just going to make that. That's good. So yeah, this is fairly standard tutorial area. Going through the vaults. We do hit level 2, so I should explain. This game has a very strict, for the speedruns, we have a very strict experience gain routing for this, and there's a reason for that we'll get to soon enough. But there's a boss we need to get a very specific skill for to get through this very quickly. And in this case, if we don't have that, it just makes the fight a lot longer. So we are going to try and hit a very specific level and a very specific amount of ability points by the time we get there. And again, for a lot of these, especially with the save points, they do give us ability points, so it's all very much mapped out how we want to get all of this and get to that boss in the most efficient way possible without having to spend too much time working on getting experience. There we go.
I will say I absolutely love the way this game looks and the way this moves. I honestly hadn't heard of this game before I was studying up on this run. I'm curious, where did you find this game and what made you want to start running it?
So I found out the game when it was in early beta. It was I think it was part of the one of the demo experts within Steam at one point in time, but also from a bunch of influencers. I think from in terms of YouTubers like Jesse Cox and that worked with in terms of the game. So I followed him for a while, and then I heard he was working with this with the studios behind this, and got interested from there. And I've always been a bit of a sucker for Metroidvanias. So tell me it's a Metroidvania, I'm already involved with it. So, and I just saw the style, like you said, the styling, the character as well. You know, you've got someone with red hair, looks pretty badass. You can't really deny that's just enticing enough as is. So I just kind of got enamored with it all, and just things just led on from there, really. And yeah, I got into it from speaking to everyone in the Discord, some of the people behind the game, as well as some people did the testing for it, and it just kind of spiraled. It's a lovely little community as well. We're coming up to our first boss. This is a fairly straightforward one, but this is a good time to explain sword flurries. So I don't know how I did that. That's so sword flurries are basically cancels we do with the sword. You'll see it if I can get it properly. I'll just finish the boss first.
Do you want to focus on the boss while I talk sword flurries?
Yeah, if you're alright with doing that, yeah.
Yeah, so sword flurries are a sequence of attacks and attack cancels while continuously jumping to maximize damage. And the flow of the input normally looks like a jump, attack, and an attack just before landing to trigger that cancel. So they'll attack on the ground, jump, and repeat. And so that's kind of what gets you that quick damage.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you. So that was not too bad a fight there. In terms of speed, as I say, got a little bit start. I always find when I start the run, my flurries are a little bit slow to start, but afterwards, the damage does really rack up, especially in some of these early fights. And it's very important for us as well for generating that energy. So yeah, thank you very much for that star. One of the things with the energy build up is very much resource management. We need to very much maintain and use our energy every time we get a moment to do so. So we really want to be careful with when we're using it, how we're using it. In this case, we want to use a steel bullet to break through the kind of armor on their break bar, and then we want to use those Tesla bullets to bring it down. And then if we can use a bullet to kind of do a bit more damage, because again, once they're broken, they take more damage all the way through. This is onto the black market, so this is our second upgrade there. As we say, we want to make sure we're being very careful with the amount of energy we're using and the experience we're getting. So we get a second bullet here just to help us with the second boss we're coming up to very shortly, and that will be a bit of a focus boss for us coming up as well. But what we'll do now is go into a bit more with got a couple of bits more to get here. There's an experience node I need to get as well, which we won't see, it's off screen, but I'm going to shoot from here. And we should see some purple streams. There we go. That is an experience node we just hit. That allows us to get a bit more. It's going to take us to 7.5, which is exactly where we want to be. And again, that will allow us just to get the skill points we need when we get to that point down the line. This boss, the Berserker, has a few glitches on it. They are not too bad, but in this case, there is one which I'm hoping doesn't happen. On this fight, if we defeat the boss whilst they're in the air, they will not give us any experience, in which case I will need to restart the fight. So we're going to be very careful with this. I'm just going to focus in while I do this.
Yeah, while you're focused in, I want to bring the chat's focus to our Skater Gator bid war. So if you go to !donate, hit up our Tiltify page, you can make a donation towards Gate and put that donation towards either Greenjamin, Tori, Sakura, or Gectoplasm for our Skater Gator skins. Right now, we have Sakura and Gectoplasm both at $25. Chat, I do not like ties. I need you to make a decision. I don't want to see this tie. Donate $1 for all I care. It's going to be going towards a wonderful charity anyways. And while you're there, of course, with Tiltify, you can always choose both a target and a pull. So if you do click on both of them in the different tabs, you'll actually see both of them on your summary on the right. So if you're not sure, check that summary. But while we're keeping the doggo love going, we have a new target for Grapple Dogs. So for Grapple Dogs Cosmic Canines, there is a bonus world that is $200. So if you want to raise $200 towards Gates, you can have just a little bit more doggo in this marathon.
Yes. Absolutely donate to that. Speaking of doggos, I am happy to say we're about to go and pet our first doggo. The doggo is called Bo. All the corgis here do have names, which I think is adorable. They have gone out of their way to do that. And here is our first corgi. Just give him a nice wee head pat there to say hello, and that is them
Oh,
saved.
so cute.
It's so cute. I love it.
Chat, can I get a dog emote or a pet emote in chat every time we get a doggo, please? Thank you.
Yes, we have 24. We have 23 more doggos to pet, and then we have Finn to go speak to, who is basically the main doggo in the start of the city, which will pass by a couple of minutes as well. That has not gone down exactly what I wanted. That's fine. But yes, that's the first one. There is. I do really like the last dog's name, and I've tentatively given them a new name. Not a massive new name, but we'll see when we get to them, when we save the last doggo. But yes, that's the first one. These there is a reason to it, not just to pet corgis, but I mean that's always a good reason anyways. But by saving all 24 corgis, we get access to the ultimate accessory. That accessory, I will hold back on some of it, but it is just a little bit overpowered. So look forward to that. What we're doing now is a bit of a run through the area. We're going to speak to a couple of people here who are going to give us our next push to where we need to go, and also give us our heavy attacks, which is our next upgrade. We'll then be moving on back into the black market again to go and move on to another bit. There's Finn. Hello, Finn. We will speak to you soon. Yeah, from there we should be able to move on to the next area as well, which is good fun. I think the next area we're coming up to is definitely my favorite in terms of movement once you get it down, so I'm hoping we can showcase that quite nicely as well. But yes, we're moving on to speak to Bran now. You can speak to these in either order, but if you speak to Bran first, he'll tell you go and speak to Ada, and then come back to him afterwards. So this just saves that bit of time going back and forth and back. To also answer the elephant in the room, which I haven't discussed yet, as you probably noticed, we do play it in simplified Chinese. The purely reason for this is it's just far faster to run through the dialogue at this point, and just saves us a good couple of minutes in terms of the speedrun itself just by doing that. So we're now back into the outskirts, into the black market. We will be coming up to our second lovely doggo in a minute. And we'll be trying to do a few more tricks here. So one of the things I haven't mentioned is with rolling is you'll probably see when I jump around that I get a little bit more distance. When you roll or backflip, you do get a little bit more distance. Not tons, but you do get a little bit more. That allows us to kind of bridge gaps that we didn't normally be able to bridge. There's another skill node there. We're going to open this up just in case, but we're now going to go up here and we're going to go save our second doggy. I'll wait for this to recycle back. Did I get it? I did. And here is our second lovely corgi. This one is called Pavlov. So this is Pavlov the corgi.
Hi, Pavlov.
So that is our second of 24. And we'll be moving down. So we do have access to accessories in that here as well. So they're not. We will be getting some of these. We're only going to get one, however. They all have their benefits, but this one here is the only one that we find is really useful for the run. It's called the ability ring. This will give us a boost to our blade damage, as well as a boost to our defense. But we won't be using it until a lot later into the run, and there's a reason for that we haven't really come on to just yet, which we'll showcase a bit more soon. But now we're moving on to the outskirts. So again, the movement for this on the way back especially is really fun whenever you get access to double jump and our main movement technique as well once we get that. To run through just a couple other bits with the run as well. You'll see me shoot the red nodes there, or skill nodes. They will give me access to skill points. The small ones that you saw me there hit with the purple one, that is an experience node, and there'll be a couple other ones we can get. Red ones give you health, blue ones give you energy back, and there is another one which is yellow, which gives you money, which you can give to this person here, which is Leon. Before we kind of tailored this run a bit more, we used to speak to Leon here to get an upgrade for the gun. And some people still do that, but for the purpose of my side of the run, I don't get the scope that because I don't really rely on the gun, and especially for this side of the run as well, we don't need the gun, especially when we get to the end. So it's good if you want to use it. I think as a starting bit, it's really good, but you don't really need it once you get a bit further into it. It's a little bit slower, I think, once we have that. Now on to our third Corgi. We're just going to go past this assassin here, down here, past there, and we are onto our third one. This is Navy.
Hi, Navy.
Hi, Navy. And that's going to hit me, that's fine.
And thank you for all the dog emotes in chat. I love you.
Yes, thank you so much. Now I'm going to try a skip here. It doesn't always work, but I'm going to let this get hit first, and I'm going to try and get past here. I'm not going to get it, that's fine. If we get that, there's a couple different routes we can take, but that skip was found recently by Tidus, who also runs the run, does the run. That saves us about 40 seconds, because we don't have to go through this pathway instead. And we can save a bit later on, but without doing it, it's not too big a difference, to be honest, so we're actually okay here. We will now be deliberately trying to take damage as we're coming up to the third boss. We're not going to really fight this boss though, and that comes into what I was talking about before with save points. So with save points, they also are warp points, so kind of think of it in a way of other, I don't want to say Dark Souls-y like, but other games where you don't lose your progress if you get knocked out. So in this case, every time you get knocked out, you keep your progress and you'll just go back to the last save point you were at. So we'll do this to do save warps, or death warps as we call them. I've not taken enough damage here, which is fine, but it shouldn't take too much time. So we'll open this gate up, and we're now just going to run all the way on to Renard 1, which is the first fight we do here. Instead of taking them on, because it can take considerably a lot longer to do so, we are just going to allow ourselves to get knocked out 3 times instead. So taking as much damage running up to this point does help just pass the first one over, and it's also one of the reasons why we don't equip the ring we just got, because it would just slow down the getting knocked out just that little bit as well. So we'll just be getting that done now, and then we'll be moving on to the lab. If you've got any messages at the moment, we have got a little bit of time if you want to go through anything, Star.
Sure thing. If you are watching this and want to get involved or just be part of our great community, well, this event is presented by the team at Fast Paced Events. Founded in January 2022, their mission is to promote mental health and LGBTQ plus awareness through speedrunning and to raise money for mental health and LGBTQ plus charities. So by beating games at a fast pace, you can raise money too. If you'd like more information about the team and maybe join us or hang out in our cool Discord, you can head over to www.fastpacedevents.com. You can also find all of our socials, but go ahead and check out that website, join us, be a part of our future events, or just come and hang out in our chat. It's a wonderful group, and it's a great place for folks to find a little bit of community.
Yeah, it's been wonderful in there as well. It's always been lovely and inviting since I joined as well. I'm still fairly new to the speedrunning community, so the fact that I've been able to be accepted into such an event as well so recently feels very nice. And it's so welcoming, as I say. I've never had a bad moment in this, especially with fast pace as well. So definitely echo what you've said there. Moving on, we'll be moving on to our double jump now, and we're also on to our next Corgi. They'll be coming through a bit more thick and fast now as we move into the run. This is going to be our double jump and getting access to our, effectively our main movement, which is going to be dive kick. We will also be using this for a skip as well right in a minute. There is our Corgi. This is Rocket. Hi, Rocket.
Hi, Rocket.
Now on to this is the only boss fight that we skip on purpose because of just how long it takes, and the only one we've been able to find an actual skip for. So I'm just going to go a bit quiet while I do this. It should be straightforward, but
Yeah, while Arb is locking in, this boss skip is just a series of jump, dive, kick, attack cancels. And they're going to be trying to go up the wall to avoid the gauntlet boss. So it's a little bit of tricky movement involving those attack cancels. But love to see it, and I will again call your attention to our bid war. Remember, exclamation mark donate. I would love to see someone break that tie. Anyone can do it. And chat, I want you to be first. But it sounds like we have another doggo.
We do. This is Kono.
Hi, Kono.
Thank you, Kono. There we go. Sorry, carry on. I'll let you carry on there, Star.
Oh no, you're good. I was just trying to let you focus up there for a second.
No problem. Thank you very much. So this is flashing lights warning just ahead of time. So just in case, you will see a bit more of this. As I say, this is a warp we would get. It's just giving us a bit of a tutorial as to what they are and a bit more of a background on them in the story-wise. When that happens, we will hopefully only be using 3 more teleports, so we should only have that 3 more times, but I will tell you when that's going to happen. For now though, say we've now got to the main movement and tech of the run, which is going to be our dive kick, so I'm going to try and not mess up going into these enemies. There we go. And you're going to see what I mean, hopefully, with the kind of pace of the movement when I'm going through the next area, which I really do enjoy. There is one skill point we're going to get here, so I'm just going to go and let this enemy attack me, drop down, get the skill point, and we're back into the outskirts. So from here, we're going to try and keep on top of all the buildings. We're just going to get an experience note here first, get us up to level 13, and we're now going to try and stick on top of the roof as far as we can, as it's a bit quicker. And again, as you go through it, it just feels satisfying when you get this down. So yeah, I really like the movement for this. The only problem I find, and it's something you get used to, is that the dive kick is on the same button as heavy attack. So if you press it too early when you're going through the air, you will likely, if you land first, you're going to use a heavy attack if you've got energy. This is Maxine. Hello, Maxine.
Hello, Maxine.
I'm going to heal up here because I'm a little bit worried. I don't know how that didn't hit me. That's never happened before. I said the words. I shouldn't have said that. Okay, so now we're just going to carry on over here. There's one chest we want to get on the way here, which will have access to 3 doses of whiskey. Whiskey gives us access to slightly more damage, and that we'll be using on very particular fights coming up. Yes, I said the thing. So from here, we'll be moving back into the city. We've got 2 more Corgis we're going to save very quickly in the city. And then once we've done that, we're going to go back through the vaults in our second visit to go through to Fornax. And Fornax is very much like a furnace type area. It does have some interesting movement in there as well. And also is going to be more prone to where we really found use for those save warps that we're going to be doing as well. So from here, we're going to go back. I am going to remember this time, because I have a bad habit of actually going to speak to Ada here, because I have a habit of missing that. There we go. Hi, Ada. So we'll have one Corgi coming up outside in the city, and then there's one hidden in Vincent's bar as well. Hi, Finn. Bye, Finn. We'll speak to you soon. There's what I mean with the heavy attacks. You kind of get used to that after a while. But it does get a little bit grating when you do that all the time. Just keeping the rhythm up. So we're coming up to go and save Uni. Uni is who we're coming up to next. It's just over here. Hi Uni, there we go.
Hi, Uni.
Lovely. And now we'll go into the Machinist, we'll speak to this character here, who will just tell us that we can get back into the vaults, and that allows us to trigger to go to Fornax. We have tried going through this without having to speak to them, but it turns out that they have thought about it, and they remove the platforms into Fornax at the start of the game, at the start of the area, so you can't get there until you activate these story bits. And that's really where a lot of the boss skips haven't, or don't work for us. This is Yummy. Hey.
Hi, Yummy. I love that name.
That's a good name, I love it. So we'll speak to them here, and now we'll move into the vaults again. Oh, don't have any energy. There we go. And we're back into the vault. So again here, we're now going to get the other teleports. So we now have all the teleports we need. And that's going to allow us to come back and save the Corgis in the vault as well, near the end of the game. So what we're going to do now is move into Fornax. Fornax is, again, it's fine. We don't really stay there for too long. There is a couple of Corgis you need to go back for, so we will be going back for two of them as well in this run. We'll be able to save one in just a minute. But it's more of an interesting area. So again, we have to get a series of valves that you'll see us get in a minute, which are going to allow us to proceed. They will be best got with some death warps, and we'll also be moving on to a bit more of the dive kick mechanics as well. One of the things that dive kick does allow us to do, and we're about to see in a minute, is it allows us to reset our second jump. So when we do a double jump, that's too far down. There we go. That's better. It does. Anytime you hit an enemy with your dive kick, it resets your second jump. So you can effectively, if an enemy had infinite health, you could infinitely jump. And we're just going to jump over here, hit the enemy, and there we go. Hello, Marcel.
Hi, Marcel.
Marcel. There we go. I'm just going to level up here as well. So this is the next upgrade bit I'll do. So I'm going to get all these skills here, get a third bullet, and then this ability here, which is going to be key for the next bosses we're going to fight. We're going to go down, hit this, and that should activate these platforms. Hopefully I don't make a mess of this too much. Nope, we're golden. There we go. And move into the next area. So there'll be another experience note here. This should take us to level 15 in a bit, and then when we defeat the enemy down there, it should take us to level 16. Yep, I think that's exactly where I want it to be. Perfect, that's exactly where we need it to be. And we're just going to go past these flames here and access into the valve room here we're talking about. So what we're going to do is grab this one, and when we go down here, there we go. We'll get this one running. It'll access these. We need to get 3 of them to go to the next area. We're going to start with B6, B3, and then I believe it's B4. I always get that one mixed up, so it might not be. But we'll be going through here, getting this one. There is a Corgi in this room. We won't be able to save it just yet because we don't have dash yet to really get there. But we're going to try and deliberately take damage again where we can, just to make this room a little bit quicker. There we go. Should be able to go in these fire bullets. There we are. Perfect. Get hit again. Wait for these to drop. And up. Okay, let me pass, thanks. There we go. So once we've finished Fornax, we will then start to equip the other accessory and the items we need. That's the first KO warp there. And now we'll be moving into B3. This one here is a little bit quicker, so we're going to try and get through these belts here quickly. Thankfully, just dive kick jumping does make it very quick for us. And then we're going to go through these. And then there we go. We've got 3 Tesla things to shoot to allow us to get access to the next valve. From the first bullet, I'm now going to start taking deliberate damage from these fires, just to bring us down a little bit. This next room is a little bit more scary, so I don't want to take too much damage. Half should be enough. Just avoiding the red health bar bit there. And we'll move on. That's fine. And we've got the next valve. And then we'll let these bees do their work. If it doesn't work, I'm going to go get hit from this robot here. There we go. And then on to the last one, back down here. And this is going to be where we get the next Corgi as well. So there's one Corgi this way. This room shows a bit more about how positioning works. So if you get crushed, you get put back to the last position you were in. So we want that on purpose here. So I'm going to deliberately wait here for a second, then drop down, shoot this. So if I don't get up in time, I go there and I can go through this. It saves us having to run all the way back around again. This is the only room that has a very interesting pixel, so you can just stand here for some reason. So we're just going to stand here and wait for the platforms to come out. And then jump back up there as well. And this for room is a bit quick, so we're just going to run through this quickly. And there we go, made the cycle for that as well. And the next Corgi is just up here. We're about to see a Corgi. I think I'm going to get the pronunciation for this wrong, but I think it's pronounced Simsy. I think it's Simsy.
I have to take your word on it.
Here we go. Hello, Simsy.
Hi, Simsy.
Yeah, it looks like it's Simsy. Oh, I am going to die, aren't I? No, I'm not. That's fine. Perfect. There we go. Now there's a skill point down here as well. We are going to take this bee out for a little bit more experience. This is the only one we don't want to die in. We're okay to die when we pick up the valve, or KO, sorry, as I want to say, rather than die. Because there's a weird glitch here, is that when you get killed in that room, if you roll as you pick up the valve, it puts you into the next room with no health, as if you didn't get knocked out. Which is the only room that is beneficial to happen in as well. So it's a bit of a weird one. But yes, now we're coming on to the Fornax, what we call the Fornax escape. This is going to be where we're going to learn a bit more about the vertical climbs we can do. You would have heard barking there. One of our lovely doggos is in that corner there. I don't know how they got there. Very adventurous Corgis, these ones. But we're going to use the bees we have to try and climb as far as we can to save us having to run through this gauntlet.
And is this our bee skip?
We're going to be our first bee skip very shortly, yep. We'll be coming up to it as soon as we get there. I'm going to get hit. I knew it was going to happen. So yes, if you want to run through bee skip very quickly though, you can do, but we're just about to come up to the first one.
Sure thing, I'll do my best. So bee skip is specifically the skip for Silva. We have 2 to 3 bees follow us up, and then we use those to pass the spike walls and go to the right.
Yeah.
You have to manipulate them so they're in the middle of the screen as high as you can, and you kind of bounce up them on the flower to the right.
This one up, I think. Oh, there we go. This one's not exactly the same, but this one is being a little bit more annoying than I want it to be. Would you come down here, please? Thank you.
So that's the kind of manip where you're trying to get them to the right spot so you can bounce on them, right?
Yeah, exactly. So we want to do that. This one here is usually a bit kinder, but it's not always. Yeah, so I'm going to have to go around for this one because that was a little bit less welcoming as I wanted it to be. I'm just going to get a bit more health here as well to be on the safe side. Thankfully, it's not too much of a time loss, but it would have been nice to get up there with these bees if it was going to work. So yeah, all good here. And that's us through Fornax there as well. So we're now moving into the Scrap Sea. This is probably the hardest area in the game, purely because we don't want to use more than one save point in this. And again, it's because of those save warps that we're doing that we don't want to do that, because it saves us about 2 minutes to 3 minutes of time save once we beat the boss, just to teleport back here. And this is also where we've been really building up our experience for as well, because we need to have a very specific amount of ability points, which by the end of the brute fight that we're coming up to be able to do the next boss fight straight after that as quick as we can do. So we are going to be very much making sure that we have all the enemies taken out. I've got 2 more enemies I need to take out in this area specifically. Otherwise, I'm running the risk that I'm not going to have enough experience for that. So we're going to work our way around here first. These bits of scrap are really annoying because, as much as I would like to admit anything else, they are rather RNG. So it means you could be having a good run and they'll just fall on you without you realizing it. So it's very hard to predict where they're going to fall and how they're going to fall. We will now equip our accessory ring and do the last of our upgrades before the boss fight. We'll also equip whiskey and the energy valves we got. So we now have everything we need to try and make the brute fight a little less dangerous when we get to it. That will be our main focus fight for this run. Once we are through the next two bosses, it is fairly plain sailing for us. The boss after that is not too difficult. And once we do get past that, the final three bosses will be, excuse me, sorry, a bit of a cakewalk for us because of the accessory we're going to get from Finn once we finish his quest for us.
Sounds good. Just let me know when you want to focus up and if you want me to talk through the boss notes.
Sure, will do. When we get to the boss, it's probably about another minute and a half away, then I'll let you know once we get there.
Can I sneak in a quick donation while we're getting there then?
You absolutely can, yeah.
Fantastic. We have $10 towards Gate from Boarding Confused with the comment, been a fan of Fast Pace for Pride for a long time and glad to see the events rolling again. Do appreciate that. Happy to see him going again. And they also heard my call to action because we now have Gectoplasm in the lead, 35-25 over Sakura. So thank you for breaking that tie. And now that means our Sakura fans have to try to catch up, or maybe you want to see Tori or Greenjamin in the lead.
I did quite like that skin, so I'm quite happy it's in the lead at the moment, so we'll see. We're going to jump back down this again. We're going to try and make the right cycle. Done that wrong twice. We'll do it one more time. It's fine. There we go. Shoot the skill point there. I'm having really bad luck doing the right jumps for this. I'm going to try to avoid doing anything that could cause me harm, so I'm going to just re-heal here quickly. This is the only enemy in the game that no matter what you do, even when you stun lock them, you cannot roll through them. It's a bit weird, but it's the only one that does that. We're going to pass this brute here. They are going to be my worst nightmare in the next 2 minutes, if that. But before we move on to the boss, I believe we also have another Corgi to save. So let's go do that first. We're going to just pass these dogs here, and we're going to save Duke. Hi, Duke.
Hi, Duke.
There we go. The Duke has been saved. So now moving on from here, we're going to go and let these fall down first. We're going to get past this Berserker here. They are really bad for damage they do to us, so we have to be very careful with them. And you'll see what I mean by that. Well, hopefully not see what I mean by that when we get to the boss very shortly from now. We're going to climb right to this top to restore our health. And we're going to hopefully bait this enemy out from doing the spin, which we did. Just makes it a little bit easier for us. They have two attacks, they'll do that, or they'll do an all-encompassing attack, which they thankfully did not do for us there. So we are just about to come onto the boss. What I'm going to do just before we move into the boss there, we're not grabbing this save as I said. I will activate a whiskey, so we get that additional blade damage as well as a bit more defense, and we're moving to the fight. So I'm just going to focus in here while I do this fight here quickly.
Sounds good. And I will say, if anyone's ever looking for something to put in your donation comment, you don't have to put it in a comment, but you know, maybe your favorite Corgi name so far. Yummy was my favorite, I have to say that. But I want to talk a little bit about the boss we are fighting. They're going to summon two enemies, an Arbalest and a Berserker, and continuously that'll do high damage. So you have to kind of balance damage against those adds and the boss. And then, like Arb said, they're using a whiskey to increase their DPS. Drink responsibly, folks. And then, you know, we will probably be taking this slow just for marathon safeties. So it's just one of those things where we just want to make sure that we're focusing on handling those adds and managing our health. as well as trying to get some damage in against the boss. But it looks
It
like
did.
that went super smooth.
That went a lot smoother than I was expecting to be honest. I'm quite
Good
happy
work.
with
Yeah, you
that.
barely got to finish your little notes there, so thank you.
Yeah, I got quite lucky with a couple of criticals in there as well. So we're just going to make sure. I should be right, but we should have enough experience here. Yes, we do. Perfect. So we've got exactly what we need for the Tesla Burst. Now, the Tesla Burst is what we need for the next boss. We get full of the four bullets as well now. I was forgetting what the word I was looking for there. So we're going to take a safe warp here all the way back to the front. And now we're going to move straight from there on to our next boss, which is called Indra. This boss is fairly straightforward, so there's not really much to jump out about with this one, but I will explain a little bit of it, so it's not as intensive for this one. So the main thing with this boss is their main gimmick here is that they have a crystal shield. The only way you can take that out through that is charged Tesla bullets, which is the ability we got once we defeated the brute. So we're going to shoot them down as far as we can while rebuilding energy. The only way we can build energy on this fight is by taking out the energy balls surrounding him, which just got in the way for me. I'm going to use another whiskey here quickly just to do a bit more damage. We want to try and take it out as quick as we can. I'm going to save one there so I can rebuild my energy back. And just avoid this. And we're going to shoot them down. Thank you. And we're going to try and do as many neutral attacks as possible. I've lost the timing for that, so I'm not going to get as much in as I want, but we're okay with that. Should be able to still get into cycles. And now we're going to try and take as much more energy as possible. If I can bring any more into the second phase, that'll be great. There we go. And the second phase, because we've got the Tesla Burst, it just takes 2 shots of Tesla bullets. And just done. And that was Indra. Fairly straightforward boss considering the one we just took on a minute ago. So that's that done. Now we're on to the tidy up, I guess you could say, before we move on to the next part of the game. So we are going to be going saving the next 7 Corgis. We are just going to get our final upgrade here by getting this log from Karen. So they're going to tell us about what happened here and why Scrap C kind of messes with people's heads. And we will get access to our air dash. We will go and get the ladder here first, which will give us just a bit quicker to get back here. And we're going to go and save 2 more that are based in the Scrap C. And then we won't be coming back here again. This will be the only time we're here. So we should be good to go. So the first one is down here. We want to go down back to where we came through in the first place. And instead of going to the right, we are going to go to the left. And just avoid that blister there. I am not going to go that way, so I'm going to go here, and we're just going to go to this gap here, fall down, air dash, jump, air dash again, and this here is Doug. Hi, Doug.
Hi, Doug.
I quite like Doug, to be honest. That's a good name. Now we're just going to bypass these. We don't need to worry too much about any more experience for that. All the experience we now have is what we're going to need to really get. So we'll still pick up a couple of experience nodes on the way, partially out of habit. We do have one more boss fight to do without the upgrades and accessories. But for the most part, this is us now for what we need. I'm just going to shoot through this here as well, and that's just going to allow us to save going around the loop again. We are just going to get a bit more energy back because we'll need this for the last Corgi, and I'm going to start taking some damage here as well, so we can do another save warp just coming up as well. These Scrap have been way too nice to me for once. Normally they are very, very vicious. This is the first time they've ever not hit me once on this journey. So I don't know how. It's probably too marathon safe for me at this point. But the last Corgi for the Scrap C is just over here. You can hear them barking just up here. And this is Sky. Hi, Sky.
Hi, Sky.
And so that is the Scrap C now done. We have had a relatively safe Scrap C, to be honest. I'm quite happy with that. We are now just going to let this wheel take us out very quickly. Well, hopefully quicker than this. And we'll just teleport back. It's just quicker than having to run all the way back to the save point. And from here, we are going to go back into the outskirts. This is going to be where we get the more annoying bee skips. So the one you mentioned about there as well. There's two types of bees. There's the one that we had in Fornax, which is a lot more... plays ball a bit more when you're trying to do dive kicks on them. Whereas these ones, if you don't hit them at the right angle, they will poison you. So we need to be very careful with the angle. This is the first one here. Because we have to avoid the steam on this, we're going to try and lure them to the left side. And then we're just going to use the dash there to get up. So we're able to get through that one first, all pretty okay. And then to the left, we have another Corgi. This one is Kimchi.
Hi, Kimchi. Okay, I love that. I'm always a big fan of like food names for animals.
Yes.
So Kimchi, that might be my new favorite.
Yeah, that's kind of it. I was thinking with Pavlov, I think they were just one letter away from Pavlova, and I was like, okay, that would have been good. Right. Oh, I've done this room wrong. So we're going to just quickly... This room is... We can bypass the entire room if we get the timing right. Which we have not. I'm going to do that one more time. No, it's not letting me do it. Okay, I'm going to try that one more time because it is a lot quicker than having to run through the whole room. Nope, it's not playing ball. That's fine. We're just going to go through the room as normal then in that case. So normally what we would do is we'd kind of climb up that way instead. But from here we do need to go through a couple of enemies instead, which can be a little bit annoying. These are their bees again, so we do have another bee skip we can do here. Which we got first time. This just gets it back to the point we were trying to get to in the first place. These bees do like to slingshot quite a lot, which is really annoying, but thankfully it wasn't too bad there. So now we're into here. There's one more Corgi in this room that we're going to get to. I'm just going to heal up because I don't trust myself. Which is here. This one is Toro.
Hi, Toro.
There we go.
I do love tuna.
Yes.
Gosh, now you're making me hungry. Between Toro and kimchi, like, oh, I haven't had my lunch yet, so I'm like,
oh, you see, I'm the same. I'm waiting for dinner straight after this, so I'm very much looking forward to dinner straight after we finish this run. And now I have a taste for kimchi with it as well.
I'm reminded of someone I know who called their cat Crunchwrap, and now I'm just thinking about that because I'm very hungry.
Right, so we had to go around the long way for this because I didn't get the ladder when I was going through the last bit earlier, so we're having to go through this route again, which is not too bad. Just going to fall down here. Crunchwrap is such a good name for a cat. Yes, I can see that. Yep. So we'll go up here. We're going to get a bit of story now, trying to understand a bit more what's going on. Turns out the doctor that saved us and has kind of brought us up is not who she said she was. It's come from outside of the city, which seems to bring kind of mutations to them, hence the red eyes as well. And we'll get a bit more story, and from here we're meant to go on to a train to move on to the last area. We're not going to do that. We are instead going to go back to the vaults. So we're going to carry on this way instead, and we are going to go and save 5 more wonderful little doggos before we move on. Hot Pocket. You know what? I quite like that as well. Hot Pocket's a good one. To be fair,
I have 3 cats and 2 of them are food names. So I'm willing to shout out my cats, but I'd much rather shout out your cats or your pets if you want to do a donation. But maybe if you want to throw in a donation, I'll talk about my cats too. But sorry, I interrupted you. Go ahead.
No, you're fine. I was going to say when I lived at when we had pets of our own before, we had this habit of naming all our pets after drinks. So we had a chocolate lab that was called Pepsi. We had a black lab called Murphy, and our blonde lab we had was called Scampy. So we have a very similar trend to doing it, to be honest.
I feel like those are drinks I don't know other than Pepsi.
Yeah, so Murphy was my family had just picked any kind of drink name, whether it was alcoholic or not, and just gave it to them. So we had a cat called McEwen as well. So we had a lot of different names. I can't remember what Murphy was exactly from. Scampy being food, of course, but I don't remember where Murphy came from. But it kind of just stuck from then afterwards. So I think any animal we had, any pet we had and cared for was always named after food.
It's a good theme. It's a good theme.
It is, yeah. Right, so we're on to the next one there. So this here is Willow. Hi, Willow.
Hi, Willow.
There's Willow saved. We're now into the last batch of them there. So we have, what, 7 left, I think? 2, 4, yeah, 7, I think 6 or 7 left.
I think it should be 6 because you said 7
Oh, yes,
before
you're
that
right.
last one.
You're right, 6, yes. 2 here and there's 4 in the last zone. So yes, it's 7. It's 6. I can't math, sorry. My brain gone. Captain Morgan is a great name. Yes, I would do that. I almost feel though if I did that, I'd have to have my cat with like a captain's hat on as well at some point. I don't know. Right, and I've got one more here. So this is the last of the Vault Corgis. This one here is called, again, keeping the food name, this is Panko.
Hi, Panko.
And that is the vault done. So we have, from here, we've now got 2 more. Sorry, I was wrong. So I think I was right the first time. It was actually 8 we had in total between here and the rest. So we have 2 we're going to get now in Fornax. And then we've got 4 in the last area, so it's 6. Again, maths, not my strongest. It should be my strong point, but not today.
I run a game with a lot of mental math, and I could tell you math is the hardest part of anything.
Yes, yes.
It's similar to sitting here and like watching donations come in and being like trying to do mental math. So I feel that.
Yes.
My joke is I want to learn Final Fantasy Tactics just so I can do no math percent.
That sounds good. Yeah. I need to play Tactics at some point as well. I haven't got the remaster yet, so that's on my list. So this year, before we move on, this is Harley. Hi, Harley.
Hi, Harley.
And there's one more here to go, and then that is this finished Fornax and the backtracking we have to do. And then we move on to the train and into the last area as well. So we've not got too far to go. We are going to do we are not going to do a warp because I'm worried I didn't get a save point when I should have done. So instead I'm going to get this and go back up to the warp in Fornax instead because I'm going to play it safe. I do not want to backtrack through the outskirts again afterwards. Double jump please, there we go. Normally you would do, but in this case I think it's just a lot easier to do this instead. So we are just going to go back the way we came. Just a bit more of a roundabout way to get back, but there we go. Say I don't want to turn the risk because I don't think I took the save point before after I got up through the vaults, so I am just going to play it very safe and climb up to the top here instead, which does have a teleport of its own as well. There we go, so that's fine. So now we'll move on to the train section. So this is a bit of a run through gauntlet to get to a boss. It's not too difficult, but the it can be a little bit annoying if the enemies don't really play ball. So from here, again, as I say, we're not going to really do much more upgrades than we need to. We'll get a couple of things here just to kind of bulk us out a little bit, do a little bit more damage, which we'll do now, which is here. And then we, from here, will be grabbing a couple more experience nodes just for additional bits to be on the safe side, for health and so on. And then move into the last area, which is silver. Do watch, it's one of those menu options where it's not the top one you want to click on, it's the bottom one. I got caught up with that a few times when I was learning this run. It seems to just like to play that way. There we go. So from here, we just need to get through this gauntlet of enemies. They are quite strong because, again, we are quite under-leveled for where we're meant to be if you're playing this casually, without all the upgrades and accessories we're meant to have as well. So we are playing it extremely safe, I say, by taking a huge amount of damage. I'm just going to heal up. There we go, that was way too unsafe. But we got through it. And here we go, so we're through that gauntlet now. We'll just restore ourselves up a bit and we'll use the last whiskey that we have here as well to fight to fight Cassandra. This fight's quite interesting. It's not too, again, not too difficult, but it does have an interesting little glitch that can happen on the second phase of the fight. We'll just knock their health down to a quarter first of all. There we go. So sometimes on this fight, on the second phase of the fight, they'll do this dive attack, which we'll do see here. Sometimes this triggers them to get stuck. We don't know why, but they just kind of get stuck in place. And as much as it sounds weird, we do want it to happen because it makes it just a lot quicker. We can put the damage on without worrying they'll get attacked at all. But thankfully, she's been quite welcoming of taking damage. She's been doing that quite frequently, so we have plenty of time to build up damage. We're just going to hopefully stun her. You do see a timer there as well, so the train is due to crash anyway. So what can happen if you are struggling with the fight? It does mean if you don't finish the fight properly, or you can't finish the fight properly, you have problems with it. So long as the timer runs out, you'll win the fight as well. And that's Cassandra fight done there. So again, fairly straightforward. It wasn't too difficult. We're now into the last zone of the area. There's 4 more Corgis to save here. I realise... have I missed one? No, I haven't missed one. I just haven't mentioned the other one. So the last one I saved over there was called Boshi. I forgot to mention that, sorry. We have 4 to get here, which will start...
retroactively, hi Boshi, and
Yes.
I didn't know we were playing a Mario game.
Yep. So from here, we're now on to... this isn't a difficult area, so to speak. It's just more tedious. This is where all the spike walls come in, so you really need to make sure you have all the... you're using the movement properly. We are meant to trek through this with wind turbines on, which we do turn on for this run. But if you're doing it on any percent, you'll never turn them on. You shouldn't really have to worry about them anyways, but we do need that. Otherwise, we cannot save 2 of the Corgis in this run. So if we've done this right, we should also get the accessory at the end of it. So we'll save here just as the backup save, and we're going to go get the first one here. Keeping with the namesakes we have for food, we'll see in a minute. This is another food-based Corgi. I knew that was going to happen, that's fine. I'm just going to heal up here. Shoot this down. Now we do have to watch, these enemies do considerably more damage than everything else does. Those bats especially, if they follow you too much, will cause you grief. In this room especially, this is the only room I would say that I get worried about now with these runs, because of those bats. They will, like the bees we'll see again shortly, they do like the slingshot. So if we are very unlucky, they will slingshot. I've done that wrong. Try that again. They will slingshot and just appear right beside you without any moment's notice. So thankfully they were quite nice to us. This is Tofu.
Hi, Tofu. Oh, I love the food names.
Yes, they're so good. There we go. So we'll get that saved again, and there's next one is just right around the corner. So we're meant to go up to this one here first of all, but we'll just go right past and up here instead. We'll use this bee here to give us a little bit of leverage. And then there's our next one. This is ECMO. ECMO, I think is the name. So that is ECMO saved. And we have
Hi,
two
ECMO.
more. We have just two more lovely little doggos to save. Didn't mean to press this. So this is the bee skip that you went through a bit earlier on. Apologies, I should have said this is the area here. So these bees are a nightmare. And if we don't get them to follow us properly, which that one has not done, they can slingshot when they do follow you. So we want to be keeping them as close to us as possible, so that they don't slingshot. Even if we just get one, we got two, that's great. Then that is perfect. And there we go. We've been quite lucky there. They have actually allowed us to go all the way up we need to go. Thankfully for Corgi percent, if you don't get all the way up, even if you just get to that bridge, that's fine, because we do need to turn the wind turbines on anyways. So this bit we would come back this way another way anyways. Thankfully we got it all the way, so it's just going to save us that little bit of extra time. We are now going to go get the emerald key, which will give us access to the wind turbines. We will just shoot past this one. This enemy does let us roll through them, but they are very aggressive, so we have to be very careful about how to approach them. So we just take them out straight away, so we don't have to worry about it. And we'll grab this chest, which is our emerald key, please. Turn the switch there to open this door up, and we'll work our way back. So from here, we should have a relatively straight line to what we need. Don't need that experience, but it's now become a habit that I get it, so I just grabbed it anyways. Back down here, we'll activate the wind turbine, and we'll go up here, back up to this area, and we'll go get the next one here as well. So we're now moving on to our 23rd Corgi. Can't believe we got that many so quickly. We're just going to use this bee here again to allow us to get up here. And now we go through a little maze here. When I looked at this area, I know it's nothing to do with it, but the area just seemed to remind me a little bit of Donkey Kong Country 2, because of the Sticker Brush Symphony is immediately the area I kind of thought of when I looked at this area, just because of the aesthetic. Don't think anyone else will see it, but I definitely saw some of it. Try that again. Come on. There we go. So past these bees here, don't let them poison us. And there we go. This is Misha.
Hi, Misha.
We have just one more lovely doggo to save.
Yeah, I see what you're talking about with the area, because it's like an unintentional water level almost.
Yeah, kind of. You're right. Yeah, kind of something like that.
Yeah, you kind of that color scheme and everything. It's what's resonating. And I was quiet there for a second because the music was just stuck in my head, and I just had to. You said Succubus Symphony. I'm like, okay, yeah, now this is just in my head.
You're welcome. Yeah, it's fine. It's now everyone's going to have it in their head. So you're very welcome. It's been stuck in my head all day. So yeah. Sorry, not sorry. Right, there we go. We've managed to get through this little gauntlet very quickly, so I'm quite happy with that. And here we go. This is Hudson. I'm going to call him Huds.
Hi, Huds.
That is Huds. Huds has made its way into a Metroidvania game as a Corgi. I'm sure he must love that.
Can I give a quick update, because we are getting close to the end of this run. Thank you so much. Yeah, I just wanted to call out the fact that we are getting close to closing the poll for Skater Gator. So we have that skin bid war for Skater Gator. Your options are Green Jimin, Tori, Sakura, and Gectoplasm. I see that somebody has decided they didn't like Sakura being in second, because I have $25 from Geterez with the comment, shout out to Ketya and Netzel for the wonderful, fast, and fabulous community. Thanks for this amazing event, and let's keep defending LGBTQ plus rights. Less than 3. And yes, that donation did go towards Sakura, so making sure my math is correct. That is $50 for Sakura. That's so Gectoplasm, you need at least $16 to come back, but maybe $51 to snipe it for one of the others. And I also want to remind folks, we've been petting and saving all these doggos. You could also be getting more time with the doggo with our target for Grapple Dogs Cosmic Canines. So that run is coming up later today. But if we raise $200 for that bonus run, we'll get a bonus world, which means more doggos. As we're petting a doggo, we'll get more doggos in this marathon. And again, I've seen people putting their donations towards the bid war, which I love. But with Tiltify, you can select both a target and a poll. That full donation amount gets added towards both, so you don't have to split $5 and $5 with a $10 donation. If you select both a target and a poll, which are just going to be on 2 separate tabs, that $10 goes towards both things. So it's always a 2-for-1 deal on Tiltify, and you can confirm that you have everything selected correctly, because on the right hand side of the screen you'll see a summary, and it'll say what you've selected. So you should see both your poll and target selection. I want to see some donations while we're talking doggos to go towards that grapple dog as well.
Yes. So I just, now we've done that, just to give a heads up, I have now pet Finn, who is our head honcho, and I'm now going to just shoot this enemy with barking bullets, because the upgrade you get gives you infinite health, strongest abilities you can get, and that's the boss down, but also when you shoot the gun every time now, you'll bark. So not only do they say thank you for saving everyone, you can do all you want, you can now bark at your enemies to win. So that's kind of what we're
I love this so much. This was so worth it. Thank you for making this happen, chat.
So yeah, we are invulnerable, so you're going to just see me not care too much. And we're just going to go ham in the last 2 bosses. There's normally strategy on 80%. We don't care for strategy on 80%. We're just going to try and do as much damage as possible. I'm normally meant to get spin to win as well, so we can go like a Beyblade, but I've just chosen not to get that this time. I'm just going to... You'll see, as I say, health doesn't matter, so the way this works is it just seems to give you infinite lives, and that's the boss down. So we've got 1 more boss to go, so time is going to come very quickly from here, just as a heads up when we get to the boss. So we're probably about 40 seconds away from that at most. Quite happy with this run overall, all things considered. There was a couple of mishaps with some of the movement, but yeah, we've done really well with this.
Yeah, this absolutely flew by. I love seeing this.
There we go. So what's kind of crazy for me is I was always expecting it to be a bit of a slower run, but we're only a couple minutes away from world records, so I'm actually quite happy with that. Could have been a lot if it wasn't for the mistake with the ladder. I think we would have been there. Right, quick one here. This is going to have two phases. First one, we just have to do a little bit of damage to them, and it goes into the second phase. Again, strategy's out the window here. We just need to do enough damage. That is enough damage. We're just going to keep building on anyways. They've not stopped yet. There we go. So time's going to come as soon as it flashes white after I do the last hit. Basically, all we need to do is hit them a few times. We don't have to worry about taking damage. Because what is damage? And that is time. There we go. That is time there. So, yeah. Thank you very much. I think that went quite well, actually. I think, what did we end up on? I'm curious to see where we ended up. I think about
trying to watch the timer.
Yes, I think 109.26.
109. Yeah. Yep.
That's pretty good.
109.26.
To be honest, with a couple of mistakes there, it's really good. So yeah, thank you ever so much for letting me showcase this. And thank you for letting me showcase Corgis as well. Again, I love this run. It's just a bit of fun. It's a very easy run to do to, make this game a bit more accessible. Honestly, I just love the feel of it. The game is great fun. As I say, story has points where I think it could be a bit better, but honestly, from a gameplay perspective, it's really worth it. If you do want to play it, we do have a lovely Discord for Gestalt. There's a few of us that still play it quite frequently, and we're always welcoming of anyone in. As for myself, I go as Angel Arbalest on Twitch. I play a lot of Metroidvanias and other bits. I'm currently working on Katana Zero at the moment as well. I just like a lot more of those niche Metroidvanias. I play them where I can. I love Metroidvanias in general. They're always great fun to speedrun. And I'm there at least once a week, hopefully on a Sunday. So yeah, if you did like what you see here and you want to see more from me, by all means. If not, otherwise, thank you so much. Thank you to Fast-Paced Games, Fast-Paced with Pride for letting me do this, and donating to such an amazing cause as well with Gate. And Star, I'll pass over to you.
Oh, I don't need to give any shout outs. I just want to say a big thank you, Arb, to you, and thank you to Chad again for making Corgi Percent happen. I don't know about you, but that made me very happy, getting me all those lovely doggos. And we're going to take a quick break. So get up, stretch, have a drink of water, go pet your various food named pets, and we'll be right back.